Everyone thought the nightmare ended when Councilman Whitaker was arrested. Everyone thought the victims were safe. Everyone thought Aisha Coleman, the quiet babysitter who exposed everything, could finally breathe again. But evil doesn't die just because one man goes to jail. Sometimes it shifts, it hides, it waits, and sometimes the real monsters are the ones pulling the strings from the shadows. This is what happened after police raided the Whitaker mansion, and why the detective who reopened the case whispered, "We arrested the wrong Whitaker." Aisha tried to go back to normal life. School, homework, long walks home with her headphones in. But everywhere she went, whispers followed her. That's the girl who saved those people. That babysitter exposed the whole criminal operation. She's a hero. Aisha didn't feel like one. Night after night, she had nightmares, dark corridors, metallic screams, Mr. Whitaker's voice behind her ear. But the one thing that bothered her most was Liam, the sweet boy who'd warned her not to go downstairs, the boy whose drawings showed things he couldn't possibly know. She hadn't seen him since the night the police came, and something deep inside her said he knew more, a lot more. 3 weeks after the arrest, Detective Samuels arrived at Aisha's door. His face looked tired, too tired. He sat at Aisha's kitchen table, sipping tea he didn't really drink. "Aisha," he said quietly, "I need to ask you something before this becomes public." Aisha's pulse quickened. "What is it?" Samuels hesitated, a man who had seen every kind of darkness, now afraid of something he couldn't name. "The room you found in the basement, it wasn't the only one?" Aisha felt the world tilt. "What do you mean?" "We found 2 more hidden chambers behind the foundation walls. Empty, recently cleaned." Aisha's stomach knotted. How many people were there? Samuels rubbed his hands over his face. "We don't know. But here's the problem." He placed the folder on the table. Aisha opened it and froze. Inside were drawings, children's drawings, scattered images of rooms, chains, and a tall man with hollow eyes. Drawings identical to Liam's, except these weren't Liam's. They were from other children, other babysitters, across the city. Every drawing was of the same man. And it wasn't Mr. Whitaker. Detective Samuels lowered his voice. "We think Whitaker was working for someone bigger. Someone who's been doing this for years." Aisha felt chills slide down her spine. "Who?" Samuels opened another photo. A charity event. Mrs. Whitaker smiling, standing beside a tall, elegant woman with cool eyes. "This is Evelyn Cross," Samuels explained, founder of the Safe Future Foundation. "Publicly, she rescues vulnerable youth. Privately, we believe she supplies them." Aisha felt sick. Evelyn Cross lived 2 cities away. Her charity funded dozens of youth programs, babysitting networks, children's mentorships, and now police believed she was running a trafficking operation under everyone's noses. Aisha whispered, "Why come to me?" Samuels leaned forward. "Because every kid we've interviewed says the same thing." He paused. "They saw you." Aisha blinked. "What? Me? How?" "They described a girl with curly hair, brown eyes, wearing a purple hoodie." Aisha's breath hitched. Her hoodie, the one she always wore while babysitting. Samuels continued. "They said you were there, the night they disappeared." Aisha shook her head violently. "That's impossible. I was never." "I know," Samuel said gently.
If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video.
Someone is using your identity. Someone who wants to shut you up before we get too close. That night, Aisha lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Who would impersonate her? Why her? Then she remembered something Liam whispered. the night she found the victims. Daddy lies all the time. Mommy too. Mommy, Mrs. Whitaker, her charity, her list of volunteers, her access to babysitters. Aisha sat up, heart pounding. What if Mrs. Whitaker hadn't been oblivious? What if she'd been involved all along? But Mrs. Whitaker was out of state during the arrest. Police still hadn't found her. That couldn't be a coincidence. Aisha grabbed her phone and opened the old nanny app she used for babysitting jobs. Dozens of families still had her profile saved, except one. A new name she didn't recognize. E. Cross, verified family. Profile picture, gray silhouette. Address, private mansion estate. Posted job, need urgent overnight sitter. High pay, posted only hours ago. Aisha's blood ran cold. They were looking for her, but not the real her. The imposter was trying to lure her in, or lure in another girl wearing her face. Aisha swallowed hard. She knew the police would never get there in time. These people were careful, connected, protected. But Aisha had something they didn't expect. She knew how monsters hid now, and she wasn't afraid to expose them. She texted Detective Samuels, "I think I know where Mrs. Whitaker is, and I think she's working with Evelyn Cross." He replied instantly, "Do not go anywhere alone." But Aisha was already grabbing her jacket. Some truths don't wait. The Cross estate sat deep in the hills outside the city. Huge iron gates, no lights, too quiet. Aisha crept toward the side entrance, clutching the small pocket knife her mother always insisted she carry. Her breath puffed in the cold air. Then, a light, a flicker, a silhouette moving behind the curtain. A woman's voice drifted through the cracked window. "Is she coming tonight? The Coleman girl?" A second voice answered, "Oh, she'll come. She always comes to save someone. That's what makes her useful." Aisha's heart lurched. Footsteps, closer. Two figures appearing through the window. Mrs. Whitaker, and beside her, Evelyn Cross, alive, working together, planning something. Evelyn spoke again, smooth and icy. "We'll replace her identity completely. Aisha Coleman will vanish, and our new sitter will take her place." Mrs. Whitaker laughed softly. "People already trust the girl's name. It's perfect." Aisha stumbled back. Her name, her face, her life, they were going to use it to take more kids. Her breath hitched, and a twig snapped beneath her shoe. Silence. Then, Mrs. Whitaker's voice, sharp as a blade. "She's here." Aisha ran. Branches whipped her face. Her lungs burned. But the house door slammed open behind her. Figures chased her into the darkness. Black coats, flashlights slicing through the trees. She tripped, hit the ground. Pain exploded up her ankle. A beam of light landed on her. Evelyn Cross stepped forward, whispering, "You really should have stayed quiet, Aisha." Aisha crawled backward, trembling. Evelyn raised her hand, a signal. Two men moved toward Aisha. But then, a shout, "Police! Stay where you are!" Detective Samuels burst through the woods with a tactical unit. The men scattered. Mrs. Whitaker tried to run. Evelyn froze, eyes burning with hatred. Samuels grabbed Aisha, lifting her from the ground. "You didn't listen," he muttered. Aisha managed a weak smile. "Would you?" Inside the mansion, police uncovered forged babysitter profiles, hundreds of children's records, false identities, files labeled placements, and in the cellar, another room. Not chains this time, but cameras, computers, tracking logs, and on the wall, a board of photos, photos of Aisha, everywhere she'd been for the last year. Mrs. Whitaker had been stalking her, studying her, preparing to erase her and replace her with a puppet under their control. Aisha wasn't just a witness. She was a threat to the entire operation, and they feared her more than she ever knew. As Mrs. Whitaker and the Evelyn Cross were dragged to waiting police cars, Aisha stood outside the mansion, wrapped in a blanket, breath shaking. Detective Samuels approached her. "You didn't just expose a councilman," he said quietly. "You dismantled a whole trafficking network. You saved kids across the state." Aisha stared at the burning lights of the mansion. "I'm just a babysitter," she whispered. "No," Samuel said. "You're a force they didn't see coming." Aisha felt something settle in her chest. Strength, purpose, her nightmares, the fear, the trauma. It all meant something now. Because monsters hide in the shadows, but so do protectors. And Aisha Coleman was no longer the invisible girl. She was the light that exposed them. After exposing a powerful councilman, after surviving a trap set by a criminal network, after uncovering a woman who trafficked children under the disguise of charity, Aisha Coleman thought the nightmare was finally over. But monsters don't just surrender. Not when their power is threatened. Not when the truth could destroy generations of corruption. This is the final chapter. The part where the hunted becomes the one who decides the outcome. And the moment when a courtroom fell completely silent. Because of one unexpected witness. The arrest of Mrs. Whitaker and Evelyn Cross shook the entire city. People were angry, scared, looking for someone to blame. Councilman Whitaker's supporters claimed Aisha was lying, that she was manipulated, that she was a confused teenager. Talk shows dragged her name, influencers debated her sanity, and strangers online called her everything except what she was. A survivor, a hero, a girl who did what grown men in suits refused to do. Aisha tried to stay strong, but the pressure was crushing. Her mother's job suffered. School became unbearable. Everyone had an opinion, except the truth wasn't an opinion. It was a wound. And wounds don't lie. Detective Samuels visited her one evening. "Aisha," he said gently, "the trial is coming. They're going to attack your character. They're going to use your age against you. But we need you. The victims need you." Aisha took a shaky breath. "I'll testify," she whispered, "but I'm scared." "That's how you know what you're doing matters," he replied. The courtroom was packed. Reporters, lawyers, politicians, the entire city watching. Mrs. Whitaker sat in designer clothes, face calm and cold. Evelyn Cross, beside her, hands folded neatly, as if she hadn't destroyed lives. Their defense team was vicious. They filed motions to dismiss, accused the police of misconduct, called every witness a liar. But the worst came when Aisha took the stand. She walked forward trembling, chin lifted just enough to hide how scared she was. The defense attorney smirked. "Miss Coleman, isn't it true you imagined what you claim to have seen? Isn't it true you're just a frightened girl seeking attention?" "No," she whispered. He pressed harder. "You trespassed, didn't you? You created danger. You manipulated audio files." "No," she repeated louder. He leaned back, confident. "How do we know these drawings weren't made by you?" "Because I didn't," Aisha burst out. "They were from other kids. Kids they hurt." The attorney smirked like he'd won. The courtroom seemed tilted against her. And then, "She's telling the truth." A small voice, a trembling voice. Everyone turned. A boy no older than 7 stood up. Liam, the Whitaker son, gripping a stuffed dinosaur. Gasps filled the room. I want to talk," he said. The judge hesitated, then allowed it. Liam climbed into the witness seat. "Daddy wasn't the only bad one," he whispered. "Mommy too. Mommy told Daddy when the new kids were coming. She picked which babysitters to copy. She made me draw the rooms so Daddy could check if they were clean." Mrs. Whitaker's face went pale. "And Miss Evelyn, she said if I stayed quiet, I could grow up normal. But I didn't feel normal. I felt scared all the time." The defense attorney shot up. "Objection. This child is being manipulated." "I'm not lying," Liam cried. "Objection overruled," the judge said sharply. Liam looked at Aisha, tears streaming. Miss Aisha told me monsters can look like good people, he said. She told me it's okay to tell the truth. So I'm telling it. Silence, heavy, unbreakable. A 7-year-old had just shattered the entire defense. Liam's testimony exposed everything. Drawings he made months earlier, schedules written by Mrs. Whitaker, Evelyn's financial transfers, forensic confirmation of the hidden rooms. Guilty, 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 guilty. Life sentences. No parole. Mrs. Whitaker screamed. Evelyn stared with dead eyes. But it didn't matter. Justice had arrived. Outside the courthouse, the sunlight warmed Aisha's face. Reporters called out, but she ignored them. Liam approached quietly. Miss Aisha? She knelt. You were really brave today, she whispered. You were braver, he said, handing her his stuffed dinosaur. Because you saved me. Her heart almost broke. Detective Samuels stepped beside her. We're recommending you for the Youth Bravery Award, he said. And some universities want to talk to you about studying criminal justice. Aisha blinked. Why me? Because you followed the truth, even when it hurt. Aisha looked back at the courthouse. All her fear, all her pain, every risk, every tear. It finally made sense. She wasn't invisible. She wasn't powerless. She wasn't just a babysitter with a quiet voice. She was the storm that swept corruption out of hiding. That night, sitting on her porch, she watched the city lights flicker and thought of the children saved. The lies exposed, the monsters unmasked. Monsters win when good people stay silent. But silence breaks when one person decides to stand. Aisha stood, and because she did, others found their voices too. Some heroes don't wear capes. Some are just girls who refuse to look away. And for the first time in a long time, Aisha slept peacefully. Her story was over. Justice, real justice, had finally been served.